The other big heavyweight thing was the Gauntlet for the Gold.
I guess.
So Dusty announces it in that first show of the month. Then, is there any build to it on the second show of the month? I don't really think so. No.
I mean, people that are in it are hanging around the show.
Yeah, but they're all doing other things. I guess the best, he squashes Cassidy Riley for the second pay-per-view cycle in a row.
He also, he needed something, because he just lost AJ. Give him a nice little squash.
Yeah, but literally all he does is squash Cassidy Riley.
Sounds good to me.
There's no angle. He just comes out, he beats him with a Black Hole Slam. And then main event of the May 13th Impact is a preview of the Gauntlet for the Gold. It's a 10-man gauntlet with Abyss, Michael Shane, Chris Sabin, Bobby Roode, Petey Williams, David Young, Triton, A1, Lance Hoyt, and Apollo. With the classic rule that the first person out will be the first entrant in the Gauntlet for the Gold, and the winner of this will be the 20th entry in the Gauntlet for the Gold.
I like that. Bobby Roode's out first, and then on the pay-per-view he's like, why did this happen? This is blatant anti-Canada propaganda. And it's like, no, you just got thrown out first.
Yeah, he's like, there is this big vendetta against me because I am first. Where it's like, no, that's because you got eliminated from the Gauntlet in the TV show. And that's like, I like the way no one even calls him on that. Like Terry Taylor should be like, no, it's like, nope. Let the Canadians let them spin their narrative.
Terry Taylor didn't watch the show.
I wonder where a franchise was, or Scott Hudson, or Goldilocks.
Well, listen, don't give me hope.
There's some other stories in this match that we'll talk about when we get to them, but it's mostly Abyss running wild. Abyss wins. I thought Triton looked good in both Gauntlet matches. It's the only time he ever looked good. But it comes down to the final two, which is Abyss and Lance Hoyt. Lance Hoyt now super duper over.
You're watching it and you're like, they really could have done something with Lance Hoyt.
Yeah, because the Impact Zone, as like a crowd, randomly just embrace people. That's just the way it works. And coming off the back of his babyface turn, they're like, Lance Hoyt's our guy.
Because he's big and he does cool shit.
So they are the Hoytomaniacs. They have a name. They will eventually have t-shirts.
They also have the Hoyt section.
That are running wild. I suppose, yeah, it goes back to the Asylum with like the Sabin section and the heel sections. So it's like, it's a long-term TNA narrative that they just randomly embrace people.
Yeah, eat shit Cesaro.
It comes down to Hoyt and Abyss. They have a nice little match. Hoyt hits a big moonsault for a near fall. I like that Don West always calls moonsaults backwards moonsaults.
The frontward moonsault is the shooting star press.
Yeah. The Naturals tried to interfere. Hoyt disposed of them. Then Hoyt walked right into a Black Hole Slam, handing Abyss the win. Abyss will be the 20th man in the Gauntlet for the Gold.
I really feel like at the actual Gauntlet of the Gold, you could have had Hoyt win.
Yeah, it's a weird choice because that does take you to the pay-per-view where you do have the 20-man Gauntlet for the Gold, which Abyss also just wins.
Yeah.
Which I guess you're talking about reheating him. Him winning a 10-man Gauntlet and then a 20-man Gauntlet does reheat him.
Yeah, but I don't know. It just feels like you had something with Hoyt, you know? And you could have capitalized on it here. And then you have two, like, homegrown heavyweight prospects.
Yeah, and like they don't do nothing with Hoyt all year, but I don't think they ever really struck while this particular iron was hot.
No, it doesn't seem so.
And this iron doesn't last forever. This is just a random crowd taking a random liking to a random wrestler where you could potentially do something with it.
For sure.
So Rude and the returning Zach Gowen start this Gauntlet match. You happy to see Zach Gowen back?
Sure. I was gonna say, but like when they did the Team Canada promo at the start of the show and they teased this, that promo is also kind of relevant because, you know, with Scott D'Amore in charge now, it does feel like Team Canada's like, we are real again.
Yeah, it is very funny because this is the first show booked by D'Amore, some of which the creative, like obviously like the match lineup and all that is already set coming into it by Dusty, so it's not like a full show booked by D'Amore, but obviously all the finishes and stuff are booked by D'Amore and some of the add-ons are booked by D'Amore. Whereas, yeah, as you said, like the opening match of this show is just a throwaway Team Canada against Apollo and Sonny Siaki match. It's PD and Eric Young beating Apollo and Siaki. There's nothing remarkable about the match other than it was meant to be a Team Mexico match, but they couldn't pull together a Team Mexico.
But it's just like, you can tell that like Scott's like, okay, my boys are getting some shine here.
And like they were thoroughly de-emphasized under Dusty in a way that like I think the show was worse off because we kind of discussed how Team Canada were like the weird little backbone to the show, and when they were complete nerds that weren't doing anything and were just losing 3-minute TV matches, the show was worse off for it.
Because there's so many of them, when they feel hot and they're all over the show, it's way better to have.
Yeah, so for the various Team Mexico combinations they wanted, they apparently had Silver King and Rey Bucanero agreed, but they pulled out. Ultimo Guerrero didn't have the correct paperwork. Heavy Metal and 2 of the 3 Villanos had the date open and been talked with, but then they didn't go ahead with it because they didn't think the level of talent was going to be good to wrestle a Team Canada versus Team Mexico match. So that's why it ended up being PD and Eric Young versus Apollo and Siaki.
Great.
So as you said, not only did they give Team Canada a win there, this Gauntlet match is pretty much entirely built around Team Canada as a unit dominating because Rude and Zach Gowen start, Eric Young comes out, then Alex Riley, God, to be a very different match. It was Alex Riley in this match.
Would have been awesome.
He'd eliminate himself doing wacky Undertaker dives.
Yeah, it would be great.
Cassidy Riley. Ely Skipper next, Sharky. Shark Boy got a good reaction. We don't see Shark, but Shark Boy's another one of those guys who gets good reactions every time he's out there, but then is never on the
I
show.
don't think they know what they're doing with him yet.
So Shark Boy bit Zach Gowen's ass over the ropes to eliminate him. He bit his ass, and then Zach Gowen was like, woo, took him up over the ropes. He's out.
I mean, wouldn't you?
Wouldn't I bite Zach Gowen's ass?
No, wouldn't you escape a shark attack,
right.
a vicious shark attack? You gotta get out of the water.
That's true. The ring is the water. A1 next, Sabin out. Sabin then hit a tornado DDT while he kicked everybody. Cool little spot. PD's out, so you get all of Team Canada, and then Team Canada start to dominate. A1 eliminates Shark Boy. Young eliminates Cassidy Riley. Siaki's out. Rude eliminates Skipper. Hoyt is out next to a big reaction. He press slams Eric Young to eliminate him. Michael Shane is out next. Sabin eliminates himself and Shane with a cactus clothesline. Brawls to the back. We'll talk about their program in a second. Rude and PD knocked Siaki off the apron. Jarrell Clark was the next entrant. He hit a front flip bump and a northern lariat, which I popped for. And then the coolest elimination, where PD went to Canadian Destroyer Jarrell Clark, and then A1 and Bobby Roode grabbed him on either side and helped propel Canadian Destroyer him over the ropes.
Which is insane.
Because he did the Destroyer, then he took the bumps over the ropes. It wasn't like he destroyed him from the inside to the out.
Well, then PD would be eliminated, so that'd be ridiculous. But...
Yeah, Mikey Bats was next. Then the Outlaw hit Bats with 2 one and onlys, which looked fun.
Yeah, the Outlaw still can hit a one and only, so that's the main point.
They also had a TV squash as well, by the way. It was the Outlaw against Mikey Bats, and he also hit a fucking awesome looking one and only there too.
It's a great move.
Or the Missouri Boat Ride, as I think would be called in TNA.
Fuck you.
That's the name of the move.
It's the one and only.
Triton came out next, ran wild, including chokeslamming the Outlaw. Killings came out. Team Canada pushed out Triton. Apollo came out. Outlaw immediately low-bridged Apollo. BG came out. He faced off with the Outlaw for a second, but then they were jumped from either side. Hoyt boots out Rude. Then Rude helped A1 eliminate Hoyt from the floor. BG and Outlaw then went through a period where they were accidentally working together, where it's they were working over PD and A1. Then they eliminated PD and A1 almost simultaneously. It was like they were a tag team. They're like, wait a minute, are we a tag team? Then Abyss just eliminated both of them. It's get out of here, you New Age Outlaw nerds.
Good spot.
Which brought us down to the final two, Abyss and Killings.
So, unfortunately, this match had all of that in it.
I would say, I think it was a pretty well-booked match for the most part that has actual creative directions coming out of it. Because, Rude and Hoyt will spin off into a program coming off of that elimination. Shane and Sabin has stuff coming out of this match. Obviously, you have the New Age Outlaw stuff, which your mileage may vary on, but they told a nice little story where they were, accidentally working together and then were eliminated. And they were like, are we a team? Do we hate each other? So I thought they did at least a nice enough job of weaving some stories into the gauntlet match the way you would actually want.
Okay, so unfortunately, the first half of that match happened, but the last portion of this fucking rocked. It's just Ron Killings and Abyss having a kick-ass singles match.
It's the best Killings has looked in the ring in a while.
Yeah. Again, random guy who's just kind of fallen off during the regime changes.
And to be unfair to Killings, to be against him, it's not even the case that he's been having good matches and hasn't been given chances. When he's in there with people he should have good matches with, the matches are thoroughly bland and forgettable. He's just, there's nothing going on with Ron lately.
He actively hated being in the X division.
Yeah, he was given a little run in the X division. He's like, no.
Yeah.
So to be against him, I don't think he's even been good. But he's charismatic and cool. And he had a cool little exchange here with Abyss.
He was good here.
So Abyss tried to use the chain, but Rudy took it from him, so he tried to use a chair, which then Truth takes from Abyss and brains him with it. Abyss charges the referee. Killings does an axe kick off the ropes onto the chair, but there's no ref. Then chokeslams Killings onto a chair, but Killings kicked out. Then Killings went to the top, leaped at Abyss off the ropes, but Abyss caught him in midair with a black hole slam to become #1 contender.
Got him with that flying nothing.
The jumping black hole slam setup. That's the famous high flying move of flying into a black hole slam.
Though, please catch me into the black hole slam.
It's the name of the move. Abyss could not help but oblige. What's he going to do?
Maybe we should just not use that against Abyss.
I wouldn't. It's not advised. What was Abyss going to do? Shock treatment him?
That'd be sick.
It would actually. Damn it. Abyss, once again, #1 contender. Once again, will not get a singles title match.
Right.